Well, folks, good day to you, one and all. And a slightly extended practice session, not 20 minutes, but 30. But that gives us a bit of time to introduce ourselves and to tell you a bit about the history of the Hongaroring as such. Joining us, Mike Side, this evening, the man from Yo Stasi Rage Productions, FC Nieuwoud. FC, good evening to you.
Good evening, Gaza. Good evening, Frankie. Lovely to be back here in the Second Gear production studio for Sports and GT Masters.
And also in the Second Gear production studio, the man, the voice of Westlands Motorsport, the voice that you hear on all the big meetings at Killarney International Raceway, Frankie Ennis. Frankie, good evening to you.
Yeah, Gaza and FC and everybody at home watching this production. Hi, hello, and welcome. And yeah, good to be back in the studio again for another round of the iRacing Master Series.
So FC, a bit of background as to the Hongaroring. We're out there with Ferraris this evening.
Yeah, basically racing the Ferrari 488 GT3 cars out at the Hongaroring out in Hungary, just outside of Budapest in a city called Magyarország. Basically, the history of the circuit, it is a 4.33 kilometer circuit, about 236 meters above sea level. And the circuit came about in a very, very strange way, actually. Bernie Eccleston was looking for a race for Formula One inside the then USSR, the old Soviet Union. And a friend of him actually said, listen, I think you should rather consider doing a race in Hungary, in Budapest. You'll find it'd be a bit more welcoming for the rest of the world to be racing in Hungary rather than the USSR. So the circuit was built inside in Budapest. They wanted initially to have a Monaco-style city circuit, street circuit. But the government eventually said, look, we're willing to invest in Formula One, but we want to build a purpose-built circuit, and that is how the Hungaroring was brought about. They broke ground in October 1985, and they effectively opened the first race they had was 24th of March in 1986, and that was for a motorcycle Grand Prix event held at the Hongaroring.
Well, that's a bit of history there about the Hongaroring. And as FC was saying earlier on, it's all out there in Ferrari 488 GT3s. A lot of the Formula One drivers refer to this circuit as with all respect, that is a glorified karting circuit, because basically in Formula One there's only one DRS zone, and that's down the main straight. So that is your overtaking spot. And if you are willing to take a chance, as you come out of turn one, you go through that right-handed kink, and if you are lucky, you can make a move going into turn number two. And if you haven't made a move by then, you're going to sit behind the guy ahead of you all the way into that final corner. As a matter of fact, to prove that, ex-Formula One world champion Damon Hill, after he won the 1996 world championship for Williams, he moved from Williams to Arrows. And his only win in Arrows came at this circuit, and he reckons it's basically because of the nature of the track that he managed to win, but also keeping in mind there wasn't DRS in those days, otherwise they might have got past him. But yeah, that is basically the nature of the track. But it is a lovely flowing circuit. There is one part of the circuit you can see in the top right hand corner of the track where it kinks in, but otherwise it's pretty much a flowing track out there. But yeah, I think the guys are going to have a lot of fun out here tonight in these Ferrari 488 GT3 cars.
I do believe that these cars, we're going to see a lot of close action out here this evening in Sports and GT Master Series. The nature of these cars are a little bit different to what Formula One cars are, and in general Formula One cars have been extremely difficult to follow in recent years. We might see something different this year with the new generation of cars, but I do also believe that in this race with the Ferrari 488 GT3s, we actually might see a lot of close on-track action from the Sports and GT Masters guys.
With reference, Frankie, you were saying now to what's happened in the Grand Prix in terms of the circuit. It's a Grand Prix unofficially coming to South Africa next year.
Well, it's about 99% in the bag. There are a few changes. I think there's two places on the current track that needs to be changed. for it to be a FIA Grade 1 circuit. One is the last corner, and then just before that, there's another turn, and it's got to do with the runoff area that needs to be made bigger for the F1 cars. And the moment Toby Fenter has got all that sorted out, it will be a FIA Grade 1 track. And then, yeah, it'll be on the calendar, and DHL is the main sponsor that's jumped on board. So it'll basically be known as the DHL Formula One Grand Prix of South Africa. And I think FC, they're signing a 5-year deal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the initial reports that have come through, nothing official has been announced by Formula One or by the circuit itself yet. But some very, very good, reliable sources have already let known that a 5-year deal has been signed by Formula One and by DHL to host the race next year. I think it's the 13th round. 13th
I've
or
got
14th round.
the provisional calendar.
On the provisional calendar.
But it'll probably be after, or what is after their summer break.
Yeah.
And for the second half of the 2023 season. But what you and I were discussing earlier on is the fact that they've taken the Belgium Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps off the 2023 calendar. As far as I'm concerned, that's an unforgivable sin to take that one away.
Yeah, look, I do believe you're going to have some folks sitting at home listening to what we're saying now. They probably didn't even realize it. I didn't realize it. And I follow this religiously. And I completely missed that Spa-Francorchamps is not included on there. But I am led to believe that they are actually doing extensive changes to Spa for the coming years. So that might be a reason,
yes.
why Spa has been left off for 2023 to then make a possible return in 2024.
Well, I never picked it up neither. One of my working colleagues, he said to me, but Frankie, do you notice there that the Belgium Grand Prix is off? And of course, he was just as gutted about this whole thing as what I am. But yeah, they, as you say, they are making changes. So I think that you are 100% correct in that statement, that they're taking it off for that. And once the circuit is ready, it'll come back on again. Because how can you take Spa off a Formula One calendar permanently?
But we are done with the practice session, and we are already 2 minutes 27 seconds into qualifying of the 10 minutes, and the guys already out on the track doing their warm-up laps, and we should be getting our first time lapse onto the board pretty soon. Riding on board here with Johan Ferrari in the Monster Energy